It says it's making progress to help students in desperate need of accommodation. However, the university says it can only afford to allow students who owe less than 10,000 rand to register. This after students embarked on a hunger strike demanding that those with outstanding debt be allowed to register. They also want the university to accommodate those without anywhere to stay. Yesterday's protest resulted in a scuffle between a student and the private security. Wits has denied deploying private security guards to intimidate and victimize protesting students. It says an internal investigation into the incident is underway and strides are being made to assist students in this academic year.
In terms of accommodation, we've still got funds in the Wits Hardship Fund and we're trying to make use of those. So yesterday, for example, the SRC was part of the committee that sat, and we've now processed almost 400 students who've applied for accommodation and for assistance from the Wits Hardship Fund. That process will continue, and the Hardship Fund people can apply until this Friday, and we'll take it from there. So I think that we're making some progress to help people who are in desperate need of accommodation. On the historic debt front, we are talking to the students, but we're looking at how we can help those in particular who have some funds outstanding for this year, which they can then apply to the hardship fund for. We'll give it to them and then they can register for this year. However, we can't accede to the request that anyone who owes 100,000 rand or so be registered, because that would just be financially unsustainable for the university.
And Shirona, obviously these events, perhaps they are not unfamiliar to universities, including Wits as well, and you always hear students complaining about the issue of accommodation, more especially, or even being denied to register because they still owe the university. By your own research, these students, are they NSFAS students? And if not, are they perhaps depending on their parents to fund them?
So you've got it spot on. They're not NSFAS students. These are the missing middle students. So your NSFAS students at Wits, out of our 37,000, about 5,500 on NSFAS. So they get full financial aid, they get their accommodation paid for, all of that. So they're not the problem group. They've been registered, they're here. And we've even negotiated with the private service providers to make sure that they don't need to pay any deposits or anything like that, right? So the NSFAS students are not the problem ones, it's the missing middle. And we've got a large band of missing middle people who don't qualify for NSFAS, but who can't pay their own way. And they're the students who can't pay their historic debt, and they are the students who don't have the free education. Government also doesn't subsidize accommodation directly to universities, and that's problematic as well, which means students have to pay their own way. And that's where we're finding the difficulty now. Now, the demand for accommodation is tremendous. So we get about 13,000 applications for 6,700 beds. We've done 3 things, but we still need to do more in the long term. So in the long term, we're talking to the city and we're talking to the province, and we're trying to work with them to get new buildings refurbished so that can be turned into student accommodation. So in fact, between UJ, Wits and some of the other colleges in the area, we could create a nice educational precinct. And we're talking to the city about that, where students can move freely between buildings, facilities, activities, etc. The second thing we've done is we've gone to the private service providers in the area, and we said, give us beds at reduced rates. So that's happened. The third thing is we said, anyone who's a NSFAS or bursary, etc., if we've got proof that they can pay, register them, put them into accommodation and residences, but don't charge them an upfront deposit. So we've come to an agreement on that. Fourthly, one of our service providers has given us about 160 beds for emergency accommodation, and we're working through our hardship fund to make sure that students can get into that residence. So those are some of the short and medium term things we're looking at. But in the long term, we do need more accommodation, we do need more residences, and we do need support from both the public and the private sectors.